My name's Nia. Hey. I'm going to do some poetry. And the next couple pieces you're about to hear, they're going to be part of a larger piece that I'm actually working on in a residency starting next year with Judson Memorial Church. Yeah. So very excited. Cool. Okay, so preface. The first one, it's basically the character's intimate relationship with toxic masculine oppression, and then it grows into more of a broader voice or a call to action. You smile at the other roses because they stand tall, fully bloom, scream in loud blistering reds. You admire how they demand sunlight, for how their thorns stay so sharp that they catch your t-shirt as you walk by, forcing you to take another look. And you don't mind that just for a second you aren't in control of their body. They're in control of yours. When I scream for sunlight, when my thorns cry for a delicate touch, when my stem just wants to gather the strength to face the day with some semblance of purpose, you stand upright enough to block the sunlight. Your words greet my crying thorns like a metal hammer, and with every blow of your apathy, my thorns are nailed into the coffin of my silence. As my stem droops and my thorns begin to erode, you seem to get taller, like you heard I want a taller man and this is what you thought I meant. When I say I want a taller man, I don't want him so tall that he blocks my sunlight and casts a shadow over me, merely tall enough so that he can reach higher ground without having to step on my shoulders. So you put me in a vase where you won't have to worry about the exponentially faster rate at which I'm growing than you are. I am the 9 o'clock news, and this vase is my mute button. Day in and day out, my thorns rub against the cold glass, reaching for warmth, for affection, only to find that those failed attempts at finding love have dulled my thorns. But a stem with quiet thorns must feel strange, does it not? It must feel strange to grow numb to your own weaknesses or sensitivities, to disown your tenderness. To hold on to a rose who has lost her thorns is no way to appreciate the complex, intrinsic nature of her beauty. For a stem without thorns won't be able to tell you where your weak spots lie. For a rose without thorns will only allow you to continue a false belief of your impenetrable strength, your immunity to pain. It will allow you to believe that you are not and could never be a vessel of tenderness. You can never appreciate the beauty if it can only exist between the pulses of a tight, angry grasp. That is why you dull our thorns, because a loud thorn under a tight grasp creates a bloodbath. And not the kind that comes once a month. Well, maybe like the kind that comes once a month. The kind that shows up at the end of your sentences instead of mine. The kind that proclaims the end of an era. The kind of era in which too much of the wrong blood is shed from the wrong bodies who just want freedom. Instead, let's put a period before the things we don't want, like female genital mutilation, dangerous abortions, domestic violence, so that a new sentence can start by declaring their end. So a new period can emerge for the last one went red. So a new period can start where women's voices, dreams, and spirits don't wind up dead. Be a thorn in the fist of oppression. Watch the blood drain like we're draining the swamp. Perhaps 5 to 10 milliliters a day, and cramps from a grasp too tight will make them give up. Perhaps the swamp will drain completely and we will start to see what it all really was. A dehydrated wasteland full of toxins and the skeletons of old policies that serve no purpose to nobody's body no longer. So when all the blood leaves the fist, the hand and wrist will go limp like the stem of a rose who's been taken from her mothership. So to that I say, do not put me in a vase, for I am the entire garden. Do not put me in a vase, for the water in there is too shallow for swimming, yet thick enough to drown in. Do not put me in a vase, for I am the entire garden, unable to shrink myself for the sake of beauty any longer, for the sake of propriety any longer, for the sake of the disproportionate amount of yang in this world any longer. I am the entire garden, always in flux, always in flow, not only on and up, but far and wide I will grow. Do not put me in a vase that lacks the powerful nutrients, wisdom, and love I need to sustain a powerful mind. Do not put me in a vase that lacks the depth I need to grow. Keep your white grand patriarch colonial little dick out of my sweet garden, because my stems are too strong to fold and snap underneath the rusty blades of your insecurity and fear. Your definition of beauty slices our budding stems in half, so do not throw us into a cold, cracked vase and tell us to call it home. We can never find home in a house so hollow where the walls wouldn't even withstand the forces of wind and gravity. There we would stand in our respective vases, separated, disconnected, no longer anchored by the roots that hold on to each other during the cold, dark nights, separate from one another, forced to gaze upon each other's outer forms, forced to examine the other, to study the individual cracks in our glass. But did you know that it's hard to judge someone's appearance when you're standing right beside them? Just like it is hard to cross your arms when your hands are being held by your sisters. And it's easier to think about your own cracks once you're aware that they even exist, just like it's easier to judge someone else when you've been practicing on yourself. It's easy to feel empty when you've been alienated from one another, easy to no longer feel linked together but stacked on top of one another, collated, arranged, sorted, categorized, classed, fit into. When the white gram patriarch colonial assholes find a way to remove you from your true home, a body of love, and into a cold, hollow vase, will your emptiness cry in painful echoes, or will you have a bed of soft, cozy soil to keep you warm at night? A soil that fills you, gives to you, supports you, and takes up space. We used to be gardens, and now we are vases, separated by the violence of dead air, separated by the glares, judgments, stares. Separated we stand so weak that a faint whisper could topple us over. And my dear, there is no bending in a glass vase, only breaking. There we will lay shattered compartmentalizations of the body, mind, and spirit, and for once we'll be able to see what lies underneath this shell. A beige sullenness, scarred with red ink that screams for freedom, for acceptance, for a love we were never taught to grow ourselves. You will soon find that your pain, desire, love, beauty, imperfection, screams, laughs, cries can no longer and could never fit in a glass vase. So when you do fall to the ground, be sure to shatter, break, scream, cry, fail. Do not pretend to fit your pain, turmoil, rage, fear, or needs into a feeble, I'm okay. Shatter so that you may find the pieces of yourself that went missing. Shatter so that you can put yourself back together on your own terms. Shatter so that the vase next to you allows herself to shatter too. Break open. Breathe for the first time. Crawl, hop, run, skip, dive your way back to your garden so that you may lay the old vessel to rest. Let the love of the soil consume you as you find peace in letting go. And soon the flame of your spirit will emerge from the earth, and you will go back to the beginning, and you, my love, will start anew. Thank you.